Hello and welcome back. Before we start, the book being invisible is quite annoying. So I, by coincidence, found a wand, so I thought I was going to try to make it visible again. So yeah, before I start reviewing anymore, let's just try it, alright? So the spell they taught me was very complicated, but I learned it, so here we go. It's going to take lots of remembering for me, so show yourself. Oh my god, it worked. This one's pretty cool. Wonder what I could use them for. Well, best not to experiment too much with the things you don't know. Anyways, welcome back. We are reading Quidditch Through the Ages. This is vlog number 2, and today we're going to do a bit of a more deep dive into the characters. We're going to investigate them and find out what they do to make the story go forward. But first, the segment, our favorite segment, general thoughts. Roll the intro. Oh my god, did you see that? I probably made something stupid again, didn't I? Yeah. Punching through the fourth wall to myself, editing. Hi. Alright, anyways. Quidditch Through the Ages, now that it's visible, we can have a look at what how it looks. It looks really good. So, yeah. In this book, last vlog, we went through how it started, how it is generally, and yeah, you know, my general thoughts on it right now, after reading a couple more chapters, is pretty much the same. It's still really good. I really like it. I'm about halfway through now, so my opinion really hasn't changed. Obviously, the story has been driven more forward since last time, but yeah, my opinions are still the same. This is still a great book, and I really like it. So now let's get into the characters. Book review. So in this book, we meet a couple of different characters. And while none of them have that much screen time or like overall are talked much about in other books and movies of the same franchise, they get to shine here. So the first character is called Jerty Kettle. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And she is the first witch that discovers the game of Quidditch. She actually bumps into a couple of, well, local boys playing this game on broomsticks while she is sitting around having a nice afternoon, a nice cup of tea in the afternoon. And they are playing in the Quidditch March. The Quidditch. I hope I've spelt it out here, otherwise I'm gonna look like a buffoon. But anyways, so they are playing there. It's the 11th century, and she has a diary going where she describes anything that happens during the day. So I could read an example from her. She starts to write like this. She writes a diary like, Tuesday, wet. Was out on the marsh picking nettles. Broomstick idiots playing again. And yada yada yada. And then we go, she seemed to write every Tuesday. And then another Tuesday. Tuesday, windy. Gwendog came for nettle tea, then invited me for a treat. Ended up watching those numbskulls playing their game on the march. That big Scottish warlock from up the hill was there. So it really gives a character perspective of people playing Quidditch in its early ages, which I think is really funny. And I can't undergo, but this is the voice that I hear in my head when I read about her. So I hear this sort of like grumpy witch, like, oh, they were out and about being all silly. That's what I hear. Not sure why, but she's a fun character in the aspect of she's very stereotypical. She's like grumpy old lady, like she's all, no, it was better in my days when I was a little lass. We did this and this and that. So it's fun for me because, well, it's relatable. Because I've met grumpy old ladies like that, and they acted pretty much the same way Gertie Kettle did. So, yeah, she's a fun character, really like her, and she is a big part of the game being published, because in universe, her diary scribbles that she wrote in the old Saxon way of writing a diary, so hardly readable if not translated. She is a big part of Quidditch getting its kickstart, and it's because of her notes that the game could develop. So yeah, let's jump on. I have another character which is part of changing how the game Quidditch would work. Because Quidditch nowadays, well, I say nowadays, it doesn't exist in our reality, but in the modern Harry Potter books, it's all about you have to fly around, one player does that, another player does that, one player has to, and most importantly, catch the golden snitch. But in the beginning, it was actually, they didn't capture a little metal ball, they captured the golden snidget, which was a fat bird, well I say fat, a round golden bird that they let onto the fields, and you won the game by the then Seeker killing the snidget. But then they had to change it from being a snidget, because it was an actual living thing, because they were getting extinct. So a very clever wizard by the name of Elfrida Clegg invented the golden snitch, which is the golden metal ball that has some sort of a spell on it that makes it act like the bird, but when touched by a Seeker, well, obviously it doesn't die, but it calms itself down. So Elfrida Clegg was the chief of Wizards Council during, I presume, I don't know, 16th century, I would assume. And she thought that it was bad that Snidget was getting killed and it was almost extinct and yada yada yada. And also it was very gruesome that because the game was getting more and more popularity, and then having to kill a bird, the same bird, every single game, I mean, that certainly does something with the race itself. So in one way we could say that the Snidget was a character in itself, but because it brought so much of, like, it developed from actually being living into a metal ball. Of course, it is to be mentioned that the snitches they're not sentient, so they can't really be harmed, which is good. So Elfrida Clegg then invented this, well, at least she stopped people from hunting it, and then a couple of years later she invented the golden snitch. So that's really clever, and it blows my mind constantly how the mind of J.K. Rowling, whatever, how she can come up with such ideas. It's really blowing my mind how she's doing that. And generally, with these characters, with Gertie Kettle and Elfrida Clegg, they're just examples of the characters. Because in this book, the characters aren't the most important parts. The important parts of the Quidditch itself, which is what the book is about. But they're not important for you to understand the book. You can still understand the book if the characters weren't in it, but it wouldn't be as much fun. It would be more factual based. The characters give it a bit more of a storytelling in, which I really like, and it's clever. So yeah, these characters, brilliant. Gotta say though, the two, Gertie is my favorite character so far from what I've read, because she's funny and somewhat witty. That's the name of it. But yeah, That's basically all I had to tell you about this. I'll see you in a week. And I think maybe, if I'm clever, I could probably do something with this wand. So, see you later.
Don't let your kids watch it!